I want to sing very old song.
Hello, welcome. My name is David McConaughey. My website is vedadave.com. The purpose of this video series is to offer a Vedic perspective on what it's like to be alive right now. We're living in a time of dynamic change, globally, socially, and I can only speak for myself, but personally. So we're using the lens of Ayurveda and Vedic astrology to see what we can learn and hopefully gain some beneficial perspective to help us exist in greater harmony with ourselves, with others, with the planet, and with the whole of the cosmos, hopefully. So today I would like to talk about what's going on with Jupiter. And so before we get into that, let's understand what we're actually looking at here. So right here in the center of the square is us on Earth. And then this is a representation of the zodiac as the stars that surround our perspective here on Earth. So we have divided the sky into these 12 sections that most people are familiar with the zodiac, and so we'll talk about that. And one of the unique features of Vedic astrology is that it deals with the nakshatras, which are the more distant stars, more distant asterisms is what they're called. And so if you think of the 12 signs of the zodiac as sort of this first ring around the Earth, around our solar system, you can think of the nakshatras as the more distant stars, this sort of like second concentric ring around the outside. And so there are 27 nakshatras. So each sign of the zodiac has 2.5 nakshatras that move through it. Or that it's a subdivision of each sign, right? And each nakshatra has its own myths, its own deities, its own stories associated with it, its own energies, its own Shakti. And so in most cases, the transition between the two different signs has a nakshatra that overlaps. So here between Aries and Taurus, Kritika nakshatra overlaps. There's part of it that's in Aries, part of it that's in Taurus. But there are 3 locations around the zodiac where a nakshatra comes to an end at the same place that a sign comes to an end. And these are very special places called Gandanta points. And that word Gandanta has to do with knots. And it's like karmic knots that we have to untangle. And so that these 3 places are the 3 locations where a water sign meets a fire sign. And so that happens here between Cancer and Leo. It happens down here between Scorpio and Sagittarius. And then it happens again between Pisces and Aries. And it really shows one of the ways to subdivide the zodiac is into these 3 sets of 4. And the Vedic tradition sees these as the series of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and then the series starts over again. So we'll talk about that in a different video. But one way to think about it is through the elements. So typically Aries is considered the first sign of the zodiac, so that's fire. Taurus is earth. Gemini is air. Cancer is water. And then we start again with Leo is fire. Virgo is earth. Libra is air, and Scorpio is water. And then we start again with Sagittarius as a fire sign, Capricorn as an earth sign, Aquarius is air, and Pisces is water. And so moving through the elements, we see sort of the evolution of the zodiac. So it's these places where we're sort of starting over, right? We've gone through the whole cycle, getting to a water sign, and then we go back to a fire sign. That are these Gandanta points. And so thinking about those elements where water meets fire, the image that always comes to mind for me is I think of Hawaii, where the lava flows down from the mountain and meets the ocean. And it's this very dynamic place, right? Where there's steam and sulfur and all these, it's a crazy place where literally new earth is being formed as the lava hits the water and cools. But it's, the water must be so hot, and it's got to be dangerous, but it's very exciting. And like, it's literally the place where new land is being formed. It's such an amazing place. I've been fascinated with that imagery and that specific location where lava hits the water since I was a little child. And so that is right where Jupiter is right now. Jupiter is here at like 0 degrees and 10 minutes of Sagittarius. So really right on this edge between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So Jupiter spent last year at least in Scorpio and has come up to this edge and is a couple days away now from turning retrograde. So Jupiter's coming along, and now it's been slowing down and is almost at a standstill right on this Gandanta point. And I think, let's look, I think it's on April 9th. It's the 10th where Jupiter actually turns retrograde. So Jupiter's slowing down, and then next week it's going to come to a complete stop, station retrograde, and then get ready to go backwards, back over this Gandanta point, and back into Scorpio, at which point it'll then stop and slow down again, and then go back over this Gandanta point. So what is going on? Jupiter is the planet of our higher teachings, our sense of higher meaning. Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system and tends to expand everything it touches, has this sort of inflationary impact. And so it expands our minds with big ideas and wants us to connect to higher meaning. It's that part of us that has a religious instinct that wants to find higher meaning in mundane events. And so this is a time, when Jupiter's in Scorpio, it's a place where we are exploring the occult. Scorpio is a sign where we're sort of getting ready to be done with material life. And we've been through this cycle twice now, right? Of fire, earth, air, water, fire, earth, air, water. And now we're really exploring the depths of what it means to be a human and getting into the occult. And a lot of times it has to do with like drugs and trying to expand our consciousness and in order to find some better answers. And then once it moves into Sagittarius here, it moves into Mula nakshatra. That word Mula in Sanskrit means root. One of its meanings is root. And so it's like having gone through this exploratory phase in Scorpio, we're now ready to uproot what our previous sense of self and sort of dig up the old roots in order to plant fresh seeds. And this transition from Scorpio to Sagittarius really is the end of material life and the beginning of spiritual life. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter and is the place where we start to really long for higher meaning and insist that there is this greater purpose to life. And so Jupiter is sitting right on this edge, and it's this very dynamic place. So it's a time where we likely have been exploring, like trying to figure out there's got to be more to life than just, going to work, eat, sleep, procreate, repeat, right? And so we've been doing those explorations, and now Jupiter has just barely moved in that phase where we're ready to take some action, right? Where we're either wanting to plant new roots or uproot our previous beliefs. But there's both the stagnation, right? Jupiter's moving very, very slowly. So there's a little bit of stuckness in this very dynamic, potentially dangerous place. And it's getting ready to go retrograde. So there's this reflective quality, and we're about to go back into that searching phase. We're like, all right, well, there's got to be more. We got to keep searching. And so I guess if I were to give any suggestions for this time is to stay curious, and be willing to uproot previously held beliefs based on present moment feelings. Scorpio is a water sign, and is all about connecting with what we're actually feeling and letting our emotions be a source of quality information. And so that's Jupiter. The Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. So it's a great time for devotional practices. And that really is the transmutation of our emotional selves, which very often get us entangled in worldly life, right? I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm upset. And to transmute those emotions into higher spiritual energies. And so if you're angry, like, give it up. Like, let it be a divine anger. Let your discontent be a form of longing for the divine, and to really focus on a certain amount of gentleness with yourself, because it's a time where we might not be taking our own advice because we're not sure what the correct teaching is, right? And so I'm very wary of this at the moment, dealing with clients and even making these videos of, like, to what extent is this true for me? To what extent is this good advice for other people that I may not be following? And so it's a great time to be re-examining our deeply held beliefs, re-examining our spiritual understandings, checking in with our spiritual practices. Is what you've been taught still resonant with your lived experience? And to question your teachers, the guru, insofar as not to be insubordinate or anything, but there are lots of teachers and lots of teachings out there, and you want to be updating your lived experience and the data you're bringing in with your practices and with the teachings that you're pursuing. And so, in adapting and adjusting those teachings and planting new roots is an appropriate thing. But for the next couple months, there's going to be this continued searching. So check it out. Be curious. Don't attach to anything too strongly right now. Be willing to question the teachers out there. Be willing to question the beliefs in here, and be gentle with yourself, because this is a very dynamic time. Don't rush anything. Everything's moving a little bit slowly. Jupiter, again, the biggest planet in the solar system, is almost at a standstill right now. So don't rush anything. Don't get ahead of yourself. Just be in this space of inquiry. Be in the question. This place of ambiguity is really what human life is about, right? We are in this in-between state always, right? A constant state of arrival, constant state of departure, in between birth and death. And so to get comfortable in the ambiguity is what the energies are inviting us to do at the moment. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, enthusiasm to share, I'm always happy to hear from you. If you want to know how this is going to affect your chart personally, again, please reach out. Always happy to chat. So take care. Be well. See you soon.